more towards the middle. Again, we can see these warp spiders trying their best to kind of harass the center, but having the only avatar in the game right now, that's pretty awesome. Autark jumping on in, managing to just kind of defend the warp spiders a little bit. Now we have Autark on Autark, and she's going to have to go ahead and retreat on out of there. So let's keep an eye on the scores, because with every single victory point cap, it looks like Acra is getting dangerously close, because he is below 100 right now, which means every time he has to bleed out even a little bit could mean good game. Acra's own Howling Banshees right now are screaming and hacking away at Steve Bud's Autark right here. Looking pretty good, but I think Steve Bud understands the name of the game at this point is not to win through military might, but just instead to continually cap points. So we'll have to see if he's going to go that route, but he's certainly been doing that, as you can see by the fact that he's only at 350 points at this late in the game. Avatar lighting up the shot. Oh, and in one fell swoop with his blade, takes out that Warp Spider Exarch. So Steve Bud now finally getting his own avatar in the field, and a replacement Falcon coming out right now for Acra. So Acra is definitely in charge of this game right now. We'll have to see what's going to happen as soon as this new avatar gets out on the field. For the time being, it looks like basically every single one of Steve Bud's units is sitting in his base. That's never a good situation to be in. It just means that you risk losing map control, all that's going on. So we'll have to see. Perhaps Acra is not totally aware that that's the case, because if he was, he certainly would be spreading units out and trying to cap everything. The Autark definitely really good at that job, capping that. Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. And these Rangers still kicking around. Just going to go ahead and cap this left-hand power point while he's at it. So just kind of hanging out, keeping an eye on this Warp Spider Exarch. Not a bad idea, because then you know when your opponent buys it back, like what just happened right there. Looks like Steve Bud's Autark moving around, just trying to harass. Again, this passive-aggressive warfare is always very useful in the always be capping stage of this game, where you're just constantly capping whatever's missing on the outskirts of your territory. Guardian Squad moving on in, again getting harassed by this Autark, not wanting to mess with that too much. This Guardian Squad is level 2, in case you were curious. And now in the center, here we have it. So, Falcon upgraded with an energy field, moving on in. Looks like all of the Warp Spiders kind of blinking away. Oh, and here we have it. The Warp Spider Exarch jumped on in. He has been upgraded to have phase armor. His phase armor freezes all of these units in place. And right then, he called down an Eldritch Storm. So that was the name of the game there. Blinking his Warp Spider Exarch in the middle of his army, phase shifting them all into place, calling down a Eldritch Storm, and then blinking out of the way before the destruction sets in. So pretty clever move there. It certainly gave him control over the center. And now we have Avatar on Avatars slugging it out, each poking away at each other in a very symmetrical little dance right now. But definitely looks like Steve Bud's Avatar is leading. Acra going to have to get the heck out of there for the time being. This Falcon is definitely shooting away like crazy, though, doing some pretty good damage there. Oh, and a Haywire Grenade goes off on the Avatar, stunning him and slowing him down a little bit, giving it plenty of time to be pursued by this Autark and by Steve Bud's own Avatar right now. And he's chopping away. Will he finally get his revenge? Oh, God, just a couple of more hits. That Haywire Grenade had it. He's lighting up the Wailing Doom. Will he get out of the range of the Wailing Doom? Yes, he does. The Wailing Doom just kind of knocking back a few of these troops here. Close, but no cigar for sure there. Avatar now getting near home. Looks like now that Steve Bud's Avatar is in a little bit of trouble here. Notice during all of that, by the way, when Steve Bud recapped the center point during all that phase shifting stuff, once again, Acra slipped down to 44 points. Steve Bud still having a good buffer here. He is up at 288 points. Once again, we do have Acra's own Autark and Howling Banshees getting in here, but it looks like he's lining up a Wailing Doom. Oh, yes, that was a Wailing Doom on top of a bunch of units that had been immobilized by the entangling web from the Warp Spider Exarch. Pretty good way to get a lot of damage when you have an attack that requires a little bit of a wind-up like that. But right now, Acra is ahead 2-1, sitting at 44 points versus Steve Bud's 283 points. So Steve Bud, certainly aware of the fact that he just needs to win this by points, is just going to be finding ways to cap this stuff. And just kind of walking directly on in there with the Warp Spider Exarch is certainly one way to do it. But this Autark is definitely able to knock him back if she so wants. But no, his own Autark knocking her back. That's looking pretty good, but now they are all just getting zotted all over the place. Again, that's one of the best uses of this Warlock here, is that he can just kind of keep pushing people away from capping those points. A little bit of symmetrical Autark on Autark stuff going on here. Acra's Autark getting a little bit ambitious and charging on in. Looks like this Guardian squad getting powered up a little bit by their Warlock, firing away at her. Warp Spider Exarchs continuing to blink all over the place. Falcon moving on in for the kill, shooting away at all of these guys, and things are not looking good for Steve Budd, but he is so close to victory. He just needs a few more points on the clock, so he needs to find a way to sneak around and cap either one of these victory points just a couple of more times. Every point that he can bleed out of Acra at this point in the game brings him closer to victory. So, looking around right now, Acra is looking really good in the center. Acra having his Avatar and having his Falcon. And now a second Falcon out here. What the heck? Double Falcons. He just wants to keep using his laser vehicles as best he can. Avatar moving out with the Warp Spiders for the time being. Looks like a little bit of capturing going on right now by Steve Budd's Guardian squad here. But definitely dominant central control right now. Making sure to use these little energy shields whenever he can. And yeah, double Falcons out there. Ooh, boy. Avatar for the time being is just prowling around. You can see that Acra's little annoying Rangers here are still doing a really good job of just picking off these units. I like that little fake out right there. He moves slightly out of the way. I think this Avatar now kind of probably assumes they went this way instead, but it keeps him within range. Double Falcons moving towards the center, putting a lot of firepower onto this Warp Spider Exarch as he has to just back away instantly. There is all variety of Bright Lances and Shuriken Cannons and Laser Cannons and that sort of thing on these Falcons. So looking pretty strong here in the center, but here we have it. This is exactly what I was talking about. Steve Budd now doing a nice little back cap here with his Autark, taking away this 1 point. That'll balance it, and if he can actually finish capping that, that'll do really well here. It looks like Steve Budd lining up with the Wailing Doom once again, knocking the heck out of these Howling Banshees and doing a tiny bit of damage to this Avatar. We've got Haywire Grenades going off on that Avatar once again, but there's way too much pressure on Steve Budd's Avatar due to all of these Falcons out here. Taking a look back around, though, it looks like his Autark has done it. Steve Budd has got a 2-cap going on right now. It is now 2-1, and for the time being, Acra is going to be bleeding out right now. You can see him ticking down 38, 37, and I'm surprised that this Autark didn't hang out here. Maybe she's just making some room to jump back in, but I would have defended that a little bit longer, perhaps. Double Falcons on the field right now. Steve Budd is doing a good job of just kind of harassing around right now. Autark on Autark up here, that's fine. More towards the center. It looks like Akra's just hanging out here. He wants to hold on to this point, but perhaps he's overestimating how well he can control this back point. We shall have to see, but look at that. Just by capping that 1 point, went from 45 to 31. That could be close if he could get something else like that going on. I really liked that the Warp Spider Exarch's trick of using the phase shift right there. I think if we see another phase shift at some point in this game, that could definitely provide him the time that he needs to cap his victory point just by locking up all of Acra's troops. The Autark has been detected sneaking into the backfield there. I'm wondering if any troops are going to go and try and defend it. But she definitely has one purpose in mind right now, which is to come back here and grab this victory point. Looks like we have a squad of Guardians here specifically for that purpose, just kind of keeping an eye out. And double Falcons right now, firing away at her like crazy. And she's getting knocked back a little bit. This Warlock having no problems just kind of bouncing her around. She's going to have to get the heck on out of there. There's no way that she'll be able to cap that. Nope, get out of there. Oh, no. I don't even know if I would have retreated, but unfortunately she had her shield up. And what the hell is this? I was going to say she had her shield up and ran out of energy. Oh no, getting completely hacked apart here. But more towards the center now, we have double Avatars and triple Falcons on the field right now for Acra. And look at that, calling in the Autark. Steve Budd looks like maybe even unsummoned his Autark, sorry, he lost it. He just summoned it back in again on top of the battle. But we have total chaos right now. Double Avatars. Looks like Steve Budd lining up another Wailing Doom. Oh, completely wrecking that Howling Banshee squad right there, all the while covering for the Warp Spider Exarch, who is trying desperately to cap the central point right now. Looks like Steve Budd just barely getting out of there with his own Avatar, who right now is being upgraded to have a fusion gun. Heavy Avatar and Avatar action right now, but the triple firing squad going on from the Falcon is just enormous. Wow, completely killing the Warp Spider squad is getting wrecked there. Looks like the poor Warlock getting into the center right now, dying horribly, and it is now 2-1. Steve Budd, out of nowhere, is actually very close to winning this game right now. Looks like he's dripping him down to 20 points. But perhaps this Autark is going to be able to recap that center point right there, stabilizing at a mere 18 points. Acra is still in this game. He has a dominating military force, but he is so close to dying. Oh, nice looking Nice looking plasma grenade there, but this is getting pretty tough indeed. So let's take a look around. Steve Budd's avatar retreating home. His own Autarch fully healed up. Warp Spider squad back there looking okay, but he really needs just some trick right now. 18 points is not a lot, but he himself, Steve Budd, is low. He is at 150 points right now. He needs to do something fast, and right now it looks like Acra's Autarch getting even more gutsy, going for a 3-cap. Could it possibly be getting a 3-cap this late in the game? Oh my god, with only 18 points on the clock, he's capping it. It is always, of course, very important when you're in control, or at least ahead slightly, just to make sure that you cap stuff on your opponent's side of the map, just to force them to have to recap it. So it is now 2-0, and Steve Budd is definitely bleeding out right now. Wasting time having to recap this point up front, that's always fine. We can see that this fusion gun Autarch now sneaking around, perhaps even going for a really long flank here. It looks like she's going all the way around the map right now. Steve Budd does not have much in the way of resources. He's got 2 requisition points, 1 power point with no generators around it. So he is definitely low on all resources, but she's going for it. She's got to go in and try and take out this victory point right now. Looks like the avatar is back for for Acra though. And he's easily going to be able to knock her away, though. Unfortunately, this chick cannot get that done. But moving into the center, once again, using that as a distraction, the Warp Spiders coming in right now, trying their best to decap this point, but taking far too much damage from all of this focus fire. And we have it! The Warp Spider Exarch has jumped into the middle of all of the Falcons and all of these Guardians right now and phase shifted them, just buying enough time for this Guardian squad to perhaps cap the center point while all of that's going on. Oh no, it looks like the Warp Spider Exarch's phase shift has worn out for the time being right now. All of these units right now completely... The Warp Spider blinking all the way up and behind it right now, and the Avatar lighting up a shot with the Wailing Doom, knocking everybody back. Oh god, it's chaos. He almost caps it, but he doesn't quite. But it looks like he's just able to decap this point in the back right now. Nobody has noticed the Warp Spider back here. Oh my god, it's so close right now. Up in the north, it is 1 victory point to 0 victory points. The Warp Spider XR completely threatening taking this out right now. He's so close. The Warlock is starting to Zod away at him. We'll have to see if he knocks it back. No, he caps it. It's 2-1 now. Oh, and could it possibly be that in the middle of all of this, Steve Budd is going to win the game just by being a sneaky little ninja with that Warp Spider Exarch? Man, that one came down the line. Really well played by Acra. Really well played by Steve Budd. I hope you guys enjoyed this mirror match. Sometimes these are a little bit slow to get going, but definitely a lot of weird action going on there. And just it came down to the last minute there. So in case you were wondering, I looked up Steve Budd on the ladder just right now. He's number 2, I think, but he's like 34, 35, and 0. So this guy is undefeated. Really good player right there, and you can certainly see why. And definitely Acra is way up there as well too. So I looked him up as well. But anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm all crazy right now because we just had a big long game there, 37 minutes. So anyhow, Harlequin here. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.